Hey, everybody, welcome back to Success Secrets Revealed. This is Ronald Couming, and I brought this show together because of our other show, my other show, Internet Marketing and Business Solutions with Ronald Couming. We have 1.7 million reach, but because of COVID, the station is closed down. They're not manning it, so they're just doing reruns. So instead of allowing no fresh information getting out to the clients, because we're running reruns for the last 3.5 years of the show, I decided to do this show, bring on subject matter experts from around the globe who have been there and done that and can teach us, you, myself, and others, how to avoid some of the common pitfalls. So that's how we started this show. And today we have with us a superstar, Seiler Tucker, and she's going to talk to us about several different things. First, I want to introduce our sponsor, then I'm going to read her bio, and then we're going to get right into this show, okay? So the sponsor is RCS Online Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs much like you attract, convert, and retain your ideal customers and clients to achieve even greater success. Basically, you can have the best products, the best service, the best website, the best solutions. If people can't find you when they're looking for what they need online, you have a lot less of what you might otherwise have in terms of being able to serve customers and clients. So with all that said, I'm going to read part of Michelle's bio now. Michelle has sold hundreds of businesses to date and currently owns and operates several successful businesses. Michelle Seiler Tucker holds the following professional designations and certifications: the Merger and Acquisition Master Intermediary, that's M&AMI, Certified Senior Business Analyst, Certified Business Broker, Best-Selling Author, and Panelist for M&A Sources. Michelle Seiler Tucker is a leading authority on buying, selling, and improving businesses, as well as increasing a business's revenue streams. Over the past decade, Michelle has sold several hundred businesses and franchises. She continues to help buyers from all walks of life buy the American dream, create financial freedom, and be their own boss and obtain a better quality of life. Please help me welcome Michelle Seiler Tucker. Hey!
Thanks, Ronald. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. How's everything going today, Michelle? Where are you calling in from?
New Orleans.
New Orleans?
Yeah.
Y'all from down yonder? I thought you all from California.
I was born in Long Beach, California. My family, my father wanted to move from California because he's from a family of 12 siblings. So he moved us to Austin. So I was raised in Texas. Then I met my husband in Dallas, Texas, who's from Louisiana. So we came here.
Wow. Nice. Yeah. And I've seen you at several events all across the country. So irrespective of where any of us live, I mean, right. it's all relative and local, right?
Right, of course.
So tell us, I mean, that's an impressive bio. There was like 4 other paragraphs that were there. So just tell us a little bit more. I'm going to, put the full screen on you.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit more about who you are, how you got to be who you are, and how you help people.
Okay. So I specialize in buying, selling, fixing, growing companies. I've been doing that for the last 20 years. And before that, I worked for Xerox Corporation. And I started out with Xerox in sales. And then within 6 months, I was promoted to high volume manager, regional manager, over 85 salespeople. But I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always owned businesses. As a young kid, I owned companies. And I've owned many businesses in technology, publishing, the event industry, graphics, etc. So I really, when I left Xerox, I went into franchise sales, franchise development, franchise consulting. I'm sorry?
No. Go ahead. That was just the...
So when I left Xerox, I went into franchise consulting, franchise sales, and franchise development. Technology, publishing. Sold hundreds upon hundreds of franchises. And then I transitioned into selling companies. And when I transitioned into selling companies, I realized very quickly that 8 out of 10 businesses don't sell. There's 30.2 million businesses in the United States. 99.9% are small business owners. Small business owners employ over half the workforce in the U.S., and many of them will not sell for a multitude of reasons. So that's when I transitioned my M&A career into buying businesses, partnering with business owners, fixing businesses, growing them so they're actually sellable. So that's pretty much my background. I've sold over 500 businesses. That's just me. That's not my team. My whole company has probably sold over thousands.
Wow, that's amazing. And like you said, small businesses employ like 50% of all jobs.
Right. And then I've also written a few books on the subject. I wrote Sell Your Business for More Than It's Worth in 2013. And in 2013, when I did the research, I realized that about 95% of all startups within the first 1 to 5 years, will go out of business. But then when I wrote Exit Rich in 2019, I learned very quickly that statistic has changed dramatically. Now it's only 30% of businesses will go out of business in the first 5 years. And now out of 27 million businesses that have been in business for 10 years or longer, 70% of those businesses will now go out of business. So it shifted. That startups are more scalable and have, a better chance of staying in business than those business owners that have been in business over 10 years. And the problem is you hear the big box stories all the time, Ronald. Like you hear about Toys R Us, JCPenney's, Kmart, GNC just closed down 900 locations. But what you're not hearing about is all the small business owners on every street corner in every town in every state across our great nation. These business owners are dropping like flies. Over 70% of these businesses will go out of business. And then when a business owner goes out of business, unfortunately, they don't just lose their business assets, they lose their family assets too, because most business owners commingle their family and their business assets, which pierces the corporate veil. So business owners need to keep separate. They shouldn't sign personal guarantees. They shouldn't mortgage their home. They shouldn't do that stuff, because when you do that stuff, now you're putting your family assets at risk. And when you go, and if you're forced into bankruptcy, you're probably going to lose everything, not just your business, but your family assets too.
Wow. And that's something, that to me is, that is a staggering statistic.
It is a staggering statistic, especially for these poor baby boomers. These baby boomers have been working in their business for decades, investing their money, their hard-earned effort, time, energy, and sacrifices, right? Many business owners make sacrifices where they don't get to make their kids' baseball game, or they don't get to go to their kids' play, or they don't get to take vacations with their family. And a lot of these baby boomers are dropping like flies.
That's terrible. And especially how you mentioned that they're commingling their accounts. And that, like you said, pierces the corporate veil, the protections that the corporations give you, no longer there. And God forbid you get sued, not if you just go out of business. What if something happens and you're litigated against?
Right.
So is this all stuff that you help people with to keep?
I do. I help business owners save their business. I've bailed out many business owners over the years. And so I help them save their business. I help them build their business so it's actually scalable and sellable. I help them plan their exit so their business can sell for their desired price tag, and so they won't be forced, out of their business or be forced into selling for pennies on the dollars.
Nice. And you've written books on this and everything, right?
I have. I just wrote Exit Rich, which is supposed to come out in July, but because of COVID, we're pushing it back to January. However, listeners can take advantage of getting Exit Rich now. And if they buy Exit Rich now, they'll get the digital download. Plus, they'll get all the videos, downloads, everything, all the bonuses that come with Exit Rich. Plus, we're also giving all pre-sales 30-day membership in the club CEOs, where they'll have me training, they'll have hot seats, they'll have Q&As with me twice a month.
Wow.
And we're giving that to everybody that pre-buys Exit Rich.
Nice. Do you have a link or something that people?
I do.
Can you put it? Do you see like in the private chat there? because then I'll copy it and I'll put it on this banner scrolling right along the bottom for everybody.
Okay, they can also just go to exitrichbook.com, which is very easy.
Exitrichbook.com. That's not difficult. Even I can remember that one.
Exitrichbook.com. And we have lots of downloads there. So I have a lot of business owners that ask me for operations manuals, training manuals, employee handbooks, examples of due diligence checklist, examples of LOIs and purchase agreements, and all these downloads are there for business owners to take advantage of and start, growing their company and growing a solid foundation.
Excellent. Now, if people are, a lot of our listeners already, or some are W-2s and they're thinking about becoming, entrepreneurs solo or maybe with the group. Some have been in business for a little while and seen success and not. Others have been in business and want to scale. What are some tips or some advice you could give? Maybe in the same advice could be for each level.
Yeah, so let's start with business owners first. So with business owners, my biggest piece of advice for business owners, rather you're just starting out or you've been in business for a long time. The ones that are just starting out and been in business for years, you really need to plan your exit. The biggest mistake that business owners make is they don't plan their exit. And I always tell everybody, plan your exit from the beginning. With children, what did we do with our children? We plan their entire future. We plan where they're going to go to preschool, where they're going to go to private school, where they're going to go to college, who their friends are going to be, what they're going to major in college, what they're going to be when they grow up. But most business owners never plan their business exit. They never think about selling until they have to due to a catastrophic event has occurred. And the problem with a catastrophic event occurring, whether it's internal or external, is that you don't get to control the outcome. So you want to be able to be in control of your destination, and you want to plan your exit from the beginning. So you need to always know what your business is worth today, know what you want to sell your business for, and know what the time frame you want to sell for. So if you're in business and you say, okay, I want to sell my business in 10 years and I want to sell it for $15 million, well, then you need to know, what does a $15 million company look like? If you're in a manufacturing space, you need to know, well, who buys manufacturing companies? There's 5 different types of buyers. Who buys those? The buyers who buy manufacturing companies, where does my gross revenue need to be for a $15 million exit? Where does my EBITDA need to be for a $15 million exit? Am I running my business on all 6 cylinders? So again, the biggest mistake that business owners make is they don't plan their exit. And that's for all business owners. Now, the business owners, a tip for business owners that have been in business for 10 years or longer, the number one reason that these owners are going out of business is because they stop innovating. They stop innovating and they stop marketing. When you started your business 10 years ago, your customers' needs were probably very different than what their needs and wants are today. So business owners stop asking their clients, what do you need? What do you want? What can I do better? How can I make your life easier? How can I make it easier for us to do business with you? And the businesses that ask those questions, the businesses that make it easiest for those consumers to do business with them are the businesses that will win. If you look at Amazon, Amazon is winning because Amazon makes it so super easy to do business with them. You can buy whatever you want from your living room, from your bedroom, wearing whatever you want to wear, and you can order it on Prime and it'll be there in 2 days. Yep. I even have to scan the wand. So we scan all the barcodes and we set up on automatic replenish. I never go to the grocery store. So again, the reason that these business owners are going out of business is because they're not innovating. You need to look at your product and service. You need to evaluate, is it on the way up or is it on the way out? And what can you do to pivot? What can you do to become the solutions expert for your clients? Very important. As far as tips for people who are W-2s that are looking to enter the world of entrepreneurship or become their own boss, this is the great time to do that. And the reason why this is the best time to do that is because of COVID. There are more opportunities now than there were ever before. And you can practically get into businesses with little to no money down. You just need to know how to do it. Also, banks are still lending. SBA is still lending on deals. So depending upon how much income you have, or how much money you have in your 401k or your retirement plan, you can also take those assets from your retirement plan and invest them into a business without paying taxes and penalties.
Nice.
Well, there's lots of ways that you can do it. You can leverage the assets of the business and buy the business with no money down. You can get with someone like me who has good businesses available for sale that I can structure seller financing, or already have lenders lined up for that particular business. And you can use your retirement for the down payment for that business if you need to put down a down payment. So whenever they're looking to buy a business, I always think it's still better to buy a business than to start a business, because most businesses have proven track record. They've been in business for a while. They have employees in place, customers in place, and many of them will operate on what I call all 6 cylinders, all Seiler Tucker 6 Ps.
I love it. That's a different, buying an established business opposed to starting one. First of all, going back a little bit, I love how you talked about innovating. If you don't innovate and make your own products obsolete, somebody else will. So I love that mentality. I've been subscribing to that and tell my clients that too. And that's just so real. And you're looking at all these big box stores, they're just basically stale. And they've been doing the same thing the same way for 20, 30, 40 years. And they've been having problems for quite a while. Now they're just, it's just right over, and it's coming quicker. And I like that idea of buying an established business opposed to trying to create one. Even if you buy a business that is similar to what you want to do with your ideas, your gifts, your IP, right? Something that you're good at, that you want to do, without going through those trials and tribulations. You're going to spend a lot of money trying to get there anyhow. Why not cut to the chase, buy a business that's already had success or some level of success, and for whatever reason the owner is selling it, but it's already working. You're going to step into something that's already producing income, or at least has its foundation set up.
Right.
You're paying one way or the other.
Well, startups take a long time to operate in the black. And the biggest problem with startups is most entrepreneurs underestimate working capital. So the number one reason that startups go out of business is because they simply run out of money.
Yep.
And if you buy an existing business, you'll be able to look at the financials. You'll be able to get a really good idea of what that business makes and what type of working capital that business makes. So you don't have to start from scratch and build your find your location, look at demographics, do the build out, get inventory, get equipment, hire your team, then start marketing and get customers. That's a lot of work. Buy an existing business and then use your ideas, use your creativity, use your innovation skills to make it your own and make it better.
I love it. And that goes back to Alex Stern talks about, he has a speech he gives frequently called the Pillars of Success. Mm-hmm. And he talks about, you don't have to basically create the new thing. You just find something that's already existing and make it, more convenient, less expensive, delivered in a better way. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Find something that you're already thinking about that somebody else isn't perfecting for whatever reason. And you can come in even with your little bit of tweaks and,
you could catapult that business to the next level, but you already will be ahead of the game because you have something that's already in operation and you have something that's already running and hopefully running good. That's why you need to make sure you have an advisor like myself to do the due diligence to make sure it is a good business before you buy it. But the great thing is you got something already making money. You got something that already operates on all 6 Ps. What you got to do is just tweak it, make it your own, and innovate it.
I love it. And people, you offer whole courses, right? Like you said, a 2-day course that people can go to.
No, I offer not yet. I have an online course that I'm building called Build to Sell. And this course is going to take business owners through all the steps of getting their business ready to sell when they're ready. And because it could take a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to get a business to be sellable for the price tag that the business owner needs to exit. So I have a course that they can take to get them ready. We will be coming out with a buyer's course as well. And I also have a 5-day training course for anyone that wants to get in this industry and become a mergers and acquisitions advisor.
Yes. All right. So I think that's what I meant. But yeah, that's excellent. Now, is there anything specific that we haven't covered before I start asking different questions?
I think the big thing to cover real quick is the life cycle of a business. So if you look at the human cycle, we're born, right? So we're in our mama's stomach, then we're born, then we're an infant, we get to go home, then we go from an infant to the toddler, from a toddler to young adult, right? From a toddler to a youngster, then we get into teenager, then we get into an adult, and then we get into a senior citizen, and then there's death, right?
Yep.
Same thing for a business. So if you look at any business, let's say take Toys R Us for an example. Toys R Us was born, right? It's born, it was in an incubator, it was an idea, came out of that incubator. It was an infant, basically. It needed a lot of nurturing, needed a lot of funding, needed a lot of resources, needed a lot of support. So then it went from a young adult, then it went from a teenager. Well, problems with teenagers are they're pretty reckless and they need a lot of supervision and they need a lot of guidance. Then Toys R Us went from the teenager to the young adult, then from the young adult to an adult. And a young adult and adult, that's your prime. Then Toys R Us went to senior citizen, where they followed Chapter 11, I believe it was, and they had to close down like hundreds and hundreds of stores, and they died. And then you have rebirth. So now Toys R Us, because you just said the comment earlier, you said a lot of these big box stores have been in business for years and years and years, decades and decades, and have never innovated. Toys R Us has been in business since 1950, and they never innovated.
Wow.
And then they rebirth. So Toys R Us now is rebirthing, and they're starting with a much smaller concept to get personal attention. So I just wanted to tell you about the life cycle of a business and a human, because it's the same.
Nice. It's so important. It's so important, vitally. And I hope people go back and listen to this 2 or 3 times so they can really get the nuances of these things. In today's like COVID society, as things are changing and people now have worked at home, some have, and business owners, people who are paying crazy money for real estate in Boston, and then people are getting stuck in traffic an hour each way. I mean, what do you see will be different coming out of this in terms of like our people are, I think a lot of business, not all businesses, will go back to the brick and mortar, drive into the metropolis, sit in your car, waste hours, go up 19 floors and sit in another box and stare at another box. But I think a lot of people are seeing that things can be done a little more efficiently. Do you agree with that? I
do agree. And I'm just laughing at your analogy because I get in my car, I drive to my box, I get in my other box, I go up to the 14th floor to my other box, look at the box. I have a corner office, so I have windows overlooking the entire city of New Orleans. So my box is pretty pretty. But, I do think that people are business owners, entrepreneurs, employees are going to start really innovating how they do business, tweaking their processes, becoming more efficient. Maybe not going in every day. Some might stay home for good, some might not. You really have to weigh the pros and cons of that. But I see more and more business owners and employees working less in the office, more at home, and dividing their time equally. I don't think you're going to have entrepreneurs work out of their office all the time anymore like you used to.
Yes, I agree totally.
Yeah. And I think that's going to change things. That's going to shift some industries that were once thriving, like parking lots.
Yep.
Gas, cars, etc. There's all kinds of industries that will shift and go downward because of that. And then you have other industries that are going to rise because of that.
Exactly. Yeah. Any ideas with that mindset of industries that you've mentioned a couple, but others that people might want to consider staying away from, and some that people might want to consider either getting into or buying an established one.
Yep. So some of the industries I would probably stay away from as far as buying. I think restaurants are going to have a tough time right now. Restaurants are going to have a tough time coming back. The ones that are smart, who are pivoting and getting really creative, will be okay. But I think the restaurant industry as a whole is going to suffer. So that's an industry I'll probably stay away from. Anything travel related right now, I would probably stay away from. The industries that I would look at entering is anything software related, technology related. Like Zoom. Zoom went up to billions. That company is worth billions now because of COVID, because everybody's jumping on Zoom. I've been using Zoom for years, but a lot of people didn't know what it was. So their stock has went up dramatically. So anything software driven, anything fitness related at home specifically. I think the gyms are going to be suffering because there's so many gyms anyway. I think a lot of them are going to end up closing down. And then I think games, anything that you can do at home, entertainment wise, internet games, anything related to online entertainment, I think will also thrive. Does that make sense?
Yep. And
the education too, by the way, education. People are wanting to educate themselves. They have more time at home to get online, to read books, to take different courses. I think education is going to skyrocket as well.
Yep, and that's I love it too, and especially now because a lot of the school systems have been shut down, and they've been doing like my girlfriend's a teacher, and they've been doing some type of classes and giving students, but that pales compared to what would happen if they were actually in class. So I think when this starts to open, any type of tutoring that people do, online tutoring, teachers that have online tutoring, I think they're going to get an uptick, especially if the kids are around 16, 17 and trying to get ready for SATs and stuff, because they missed a whole lot. I just looked at Zoom right now, and they're at like $252 today, their stock price. And in January, they were at $63.
Yeah, so there you go.
It's gone up 400%. Yeah. And so that would have been a good one to jump into. And it still might be, you know what I mean, going forward. But it's up over $6 today. But excellent. Now, what is a question that someone should ask you that I haven't asked you yet? If you were someone who was out there who was thinking about buying a business or starting a business, what is the question? What should they know that they don't even know they need to ask?
The number one question they should ask is, what advisor should I work with? What advisor should I work with? And if it's not me, then pick a good one. But and this industry is like every other industry. You're going to have good advisors and bad advisors. But the number one question is, what advisor should you work with? Because the good businesses that you would want to buy are going to be listed with advisors, with brokers. They're not going to sell by owner, because the number one concern for all business owners is confidentiality. They don't want their employees to know they're for sale. They don't want their customers. They don't want to lose customers or lose employees. They certainly don't want their competitors to know, and they don't want their vendors to know. So most good businesses are going to be listed with advisors. So that's the number one question, is what advisor should I work with? And not only because good businesses are listed with advisors, but also to give them the information they need, to also interview them, quiz them, because what you think you want to go into business might not be the best business for you. I had a lady who was in banking for decades. She was, I think, 3 years away from retiring, and she contacted my firm about buying one of the restaurants we have for sale. And so I picked up the phone, called her. I said, why do you want to buy a restaurant? Have you ever been in the restaurant industry? She said, no, I've been in banking for decades. I'm 3 years away from retiring. I said, why restaurants? She goes, well, restaurants are easy. I go, restaurants are not easy. Nowhere close to easy, lady. I said, do you have any experience whatsoever? She said, no. And I said, well, listen, you don't need to be in the restaurant business. So I quizzed her and I interviewed her, and I really got to the heart of why she even wanted to be in business when she's only 3 years away from retirement. And she said, Michelle, I have $350,000 to spend. $300,000 was in her retirement fund that she could direct over and invest into a business. And she was going to keep $50,000 for working capital. She said, my husband and I have one daughter. He contacted Agent Orange in the military, and he's outlived, every diagnosis he's outlived. Like the doctor said that he should have died by now, and he's still alive. And she says, once he's gone, I'll lose all these benefits. Plus, I won't be able to afford our lifestyle, and I haven't left a legacy for my daughter.
Wow.
So to me, the number one question on anybody starting a business or buying a business should be, what is your why? Why do you want to start a business? Why do you want to buy a business? Why do you want to do that? Because it's a lot of work. So you better have a powerful why to keep you in the game, keep you motivated, keep you hungry, and keep, being able to drown out all the negative voices around you telling you that you're doing the wrong thing. You need to have a strong, powerful why. Right. So I took this woman and I would not let her go into restaurants. I would not. I said, if you got any other broker on the phone, they probably would have sold you a restaurant. I found her a flooring company with real estate, and she was making around $125,000, $150,000 a year. After being in banking for decades, that's all she was making. I found her a business that would net her after she paid back debt service. I found an owner that would sell a finance to her with $300,000 down. She kept her $50,000 for working capital. The business included real estate, and I believe after she paid all debt, she was making about $300,000, $325,000 a year, which was double what she was making with her job. And now she's already grown the business. So that's the number one advice. That's the number one question. Get a good advisor. Get an advisor to help you out. And if you think you really, really want to start a business, you should still contact an advisor, because I might say, oh, that's a great idea. But you know what? I have a business over here that's doing something similar. And if you take that idea and marry it with this one, you can catapult that business to the next level. And you're already ahead of the game because that business is already making money. So you don't have to start from scratch.
Yep. It's already established, already has a pipeline of leads and clients and marketing and it's branding. And to me, it's a no-brainer. And but that's excellent. Michelle, you've been a wonderful guest. And
Thank you.
Yeah, but there's so much knowledge. People, you got to go back and you got to listen to this a couple of times. And you got to reach out and get this book here. I spaced it out, but it would go to exitrichbook.com, right?
exitrichbook.com, and for $24.79, they get the digital download right then and there. Plus, they get all the bonuses, which is video training and downloads from me. Plus, they get a 30-day membership at my club called Club CEOs. Then, when the book is here in January, we will ship it to their door.
I love it. That's
all
amazing.
For $24.79.
Yeah, that's an amazing deal for anybody. And a gift if you know somebody who's thinking about starting a business. But listen, I mean, Michelle just talked about a woman whose husband had Agent Orange, and she's getting benefits from that. Think about what's happening with this COVID right now, right? And all the jobs that are changing. 43 plus million Americans are now currently unemployed. Approximately 28 million aren't even going back to the jobs they had. What's going to happen? This country, there's going to be a huge shift in as we talked about, whether it's as simple as parking lots not being as utilized because not as many people are going in. Buildings now are going to have empty spaces, so because people aren't renting as many offices. So there's going to be a lot of shift. So what are you going to do to prepare and protect yourself, your family, your legacy going forward? Don't wait. The time for your plan D is before you need it. Am I correct?
Absolutely. I say this often, that there's two types of people. There's those people that are going to freeze in the pandemic and they're not going to take action. They're going to become paralyzed. And then you have the other set of people who are going to take massive action. If you look at the Great Depression, there were more millionaires that came out of the Great Depression than ever before. So the other side of that coin are the people that are going to take massive, massive, massive action, and they're going to look for opportunities, because there's opportunities all around us, and you don't have to have a lot of money to be able to take advantage of some of these opportunities and incorporate. Like I said, you can buy businesses really cheap right now as well. So take massive action. Don't get paralyzed by fear. use that fear to juice you and get you excited, get you motivated. So you take massive action, and you take advantage of all the opportunities that are out there.
Yeah, and keep your mind open. See it. Crisis in the word Chinese, I believe, means both opportunity and a crisis, right? Isn't that something?
Well, and I think it's a lot of how you look at it, Ronald. Are you focused on the crisis, or are you focused on the opportunity?
Exactly.
Are you focused on the glass half full or half empty? Exactly. What side of the coin do you focus on?
Yep, and any glass that is half full or half empty can always be filled right back to the top. So, so it doesn't even have to be half full because we can fill it back up.
Right. But, we can create our own economy. We can create our own economy.
And our own destiny, and our own future. It's all about, instead of I have to, as I get to. It's just such a different mindset of when you get up and how you perceive a particular situation. I love it. And like Jim Rohn says, what happens to you pretty much happens to everybody else. It might be a different set of circumstances, but the feelings and the thoughts is pretty much the same. But it's what you do with it. That will that will ultimately.
Well, it's attitude. Attitude is 90% of the battle. Attitude. You don't even necessarily have to have the skill. You just have to have the right attitude.
Yep, I love it, and just know who to hire, right?
Well, that's always a challenge. That's my next book.
Excellent. This has been an excellent interview. Is there anything in closing you'd like to say to the listeners?
I would just love for your listeners to come visit me at SeilerTucker.com. That's SeilerTucker.com. And that's SEILER Tucker.com. And then also go to ExitRichBook.com. Get your book today. And I would love to see you in CEOs, where we're going to do live Q&As and hot seats.
I love it. Thank you so much. You've been an excellent guest today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you.
Everyone, you've been listening to Michelle Seiler Tucker, and you need to go to her website, SeilerTucker, and connect with her there. But you can also connect by this book, ExitRichBook.com, and it's $24.97 or something close to that. It's under $25, but it comes with a whole host of other advantages and benefits that you're going to have. It's an incredible deal. She has so much knowledge when it comes to either starting a business, not starting a business, buying a business. Certain things like we talked briefly about commingling funds, serious no, can really hurt you when it comes if you get sued or you want to go out of business, or, you're trying to sell your business and makes things messy. But, getting information before you act is probably the primary thing that you should have gotten out of today's interview. So I highly recommend you reach out to Michelle, contact her, and you just sit down, ask questions, find out what is right and what isn't right for you, and move forward. It's always easier to get good information from somebody who's been there and knows what they're doing. Always seek advice. Seek counsel, not advice. You're not going to ask your broke brother-in-law for financial advice, right? So reach out to her. This is Success Secrets Revealed. Ronald Couming. Our sponsor is RCS Online Solutions. And no matter what business you get, whether you create it or you buy it from her, or you want to exit it and you want to increase the value of your business, you need, more customers, more clients, more revenue, more income. There's a difference between revenue and income, right? But so one of the ways you can do that is to gain a better online presence. So more people can know who you are, see what you're buying or what you're selling, and utilize your purchase, utilize your services. So one thing that we do at RCS Online Solutions is we help business owners create that online presence and then get their product, services, and solutions in front of the people who need them. So kind of was a hand-in-hand type of situation. Everybody, my name is Ron Couming. You can contact me at ron@RCS Online Solutions, and my phone number is 978-606-5432. I hope you all have a great day. Bye for now.